Hello, dear audience. I have the greatest pleasure and privilege of introducing you Kurt Sassmannshaus, whose first teachers were his father Egon Sassmannshaus, Gerd Hölschler, and Konrad van der Goltz in Würzburg, Germany. He studied in Cologne with Igor Ozim and the New York's Juilliard School with Dorothy DeLay. Sassmannshaus taught for many years in close association with Dorothy DeLay, both in Cincinnati and at the Aspen Music Festival and School. He holds the Dorothy Richard Starling Chair for Classical Violin at the University of Cincinnati College, Conservatory of Music. His students perform as soloists, hold appointments as major conservatoires, and are leaders in major orchestra around the world. They have won many prizes in major competitions, including Tchaikovsky, Naumburg, and the China National Competition. He frequently judges international violin competitions. In the summer, Sassmannshaus teaches at the Bodin International Music Festival in May. Sassmannshaus started the Starling Preparatory String Project in 1987 in Cincinnati as a training ground for exceptional young string talent. His pioneering violin teaching website, violinmasterclass.com, was published in 2004. He expands the pedagogic material available to young students with new additions in Berenerreiter's Sassmannshaus tradition. Please, we'd like to listen to your wise word, Kurt.
I hope they're wise. Thank you very much for having me on this wonderful series, and I look forward to hearing some wonderful violin playing. That's a great honor, and it's amazing what we have learned to do over the internet, partially forced over the last year. And it has enriched us as much as it, in some cases, has taken away the personal connection with people who live very close. But it has flattened the world in that we can do this across various continents at any one time. So, but Ani, thank you very much for including me in this wonderful program. And here we have Flora Clapham. And Flora will play, we will hear a recording of her playing the Hubei Carmen Fantasy. Yes?
Yes, that's it.
That's great. Good, bravo. Bravo.
Thank you.
And good, Flora. This is beautiful playing. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I
Yeah.
can.
And this beautiful, very beautiful playing. You're an incredibly skilled violinist.
Thank you.
Yeah, at a very early age, which is fantastic. So, the thing I mostly want to talk about with you is tempo and rhythms.
Okay.
Two different things. And we'll just go through the piece. In the beginning, if I take the first 3/8 notes you play, the long E, that is considerably slower than the next 3/8 notes, the D sharp, C, D sharp, yeah. And for the stability and actually for the musical message, it would be important to have this just in one tempo. I trust you've played this with piano at some point.
Never.
Never. Okay.
No.
That would probably make you aware of it very quickly, even without saying anything, where you just have to follow smaller notes that are in the piano part. Yeah? But for the time being, let's try at a moderate tempo. It's andante moderato, so it's not going to be very fast. Yeah, dee, dee, da, dee, 1, 2, 3, something like that. Try it.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Much better. Yeah, much better. I know there's a built-in delay, so you hear me. You hear me a little bit later. One of the things that has also done is it has slowed down the run, and that's a good thing in this case because we can really hear every note. And congratulations to you, it's all in tune. Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do, but it gives the theme a lot more. The best way to say that is the espressivo that's prescribed comes out a lot better if it doesn't have the tendency to want to go forward and rush. Yeah, that's counterproductive to the espressivo. Yeah. So then it says l'istesso tempo when you get into the next section, the 9/8 section. So we have a can you play from there that next tune after the double bar?
Okay.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Can you hold on 1 second? It seems like the second triplet, the last triplet in each bar wants to go a little bit faster. Dee da da dee dee da da dee da 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 da. Yeah, keep it very expressive, and if it's a little bit, if the triplets are a little bit stretched, that actually helps that.
Okay.
Try it one more time, please. Very good. Good. Yeah, that's very nice. And that little retard with the diminuendo on the 16th is beautiful. Yeah. So, I mean, this music is, in a way, much more free. Nobody will hold you to the standard of a Beethoven string quartet in terms of rhythm and tempos. But it actually tremendously helps the music and it helps the expressiveness. One tiny thing, just as a violinist, when you go from the high C sharp to the low C sharp, make sure we hear nothing from the D string or the A string. Okay. Yeah, in that change. If you're all the way at the tip, you can either lift the bow by a millimeter or not even. If the bow stands still for a second, you can do it without any noise. Can you play that bar? The crescendo bar starts with a B natural, B sharp, C sharp.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just those are little things where a recording engineer would say, I hear something that's not written in the music. It's tiny, but it makes the playing much more clean. So let's go on. Actually, where I stopped you after the 16th with a little retard, go from that next G sharp. Yeah, very good. So here again, the triplets have a tendency to go ahead a little bit, and that makes you come early on the next downbeat. And then when it gets very big into the fortissimo with the octaves,
Yeah.
if anything, you want to make it. I guess I use the word bombastic. Da 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 dee ya da da da. Yeah, that's very declamatory. If anything, you want to go slower, but it's fine with me if you stay in the same tempo. But don't get it faster. Then I wanted to show you when you have the grace notes. Yeah, give the grace notes just a teeny bit of extra bow speed. If you want, you can actually lift the bow a little bit and throw it back down with extra speed. That makes the grace notes come out really precisely, and in a small room it may sound exaggerated, but in a even in a small concert hall it'll be fine. Yeah. Play that whole section one more time. So try not to get faster when you get to the octaves.
Okay.
Yeah. Good, yeah, very good. So this last run, I can hear every note. It's borderline too fast. You have a technique. You can play a lot faster than the audience can listen.
Okay.
And if you get into a room, now look, we all practice in a living room. When you're a college student, you're in a dorm room, which gets even smaller. But we don't practice in concert halls, unfortunately, most of the time. And so when you get into a room with about 1.5 to 2 seconds of reverb, you actually have to play a little bit slower. Otherwise, the reverb will swallow a lot of the articulation and some of the notes. Yeah? So that's, but we'll get to that in a couple of later passages as well. So go on from after the page turn. Actually, that next tempo, that was really good. That could be, if you want to look for metronome numbers, that could be a good standard for the entire section in the 9/8 section, Listesso tempo. Yeah, play from the A tempo on the next page. Yeah, very good. So hold on. Yeah. So you purposefully, I think you slowed down the last run coming down compared to what you did before. Yeah. Excellent. That's good. The arpeggios in the second line, same situation as before. It could be too fast depending on the hall. Yeah. So the bigger the hall, the slower you have to play. And then when you're done with that, I would give in America we say the dotted quarters. I know in England
It's fine. I lived in America.
you don't.
I can understand you.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Fine. It's funny as a German with an American accent to teach in England, right? But I would give that the same slow tempo as the beginning of the art tempo. So they would be quite a bit longer. Yeah, so that's something to think about. And again, I mean, nobody's going to hold you to the standard of you have a beautiful picture of Beethoven behind you, and he is in all other things he is a good measure. Yeah. So let's go on with the Allegro. Dim, da, da, dum, ba, da, dum. Yeah, good, very good. That is very good. Bom, bom. Make sure that B is intonation-wise right on. There was tendency to be a little sharper. The runs are good. I mean, you have so much control, and it's good to see you can slow it down at will.
Okay.
Some people play fast and they can't slow it down. That's a problem. Yeah. So I tell you, one of the things that happens to us is we practice a piece and we learn the notes, and we practice the shifting and everything and sounding point and point of contact, and you do all of that fabulously. And then we get it up to tempo and it feels so exciting. Yeah. The next day, we want to have the same feeling, but the feeling from yesterday feels a little dull. So we play a little faster. And then the third day, it gets a little faster, all the while your ability is to play much faster than that. Yeah, I always tell my college students or pre-college, I teach people, I try to speed them up for about 3 years, and then I spend 10 years slowing them down. So you're now in the slowing down phase of things.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's much better. Try one more time and control the tempo. If you need more articulation on runs coming down, you can use a little bit of pizzicato in the left hand.
Okay.
You know about that, right? Yeah, you've heard that before. A little bit pizzicato left hand makes the runs even cleaner, and good articulation in a concert hall makes it sound exciting, makes it more exciting than a faster tempo where people have a hard time hearing all the notes.
Okay.
Yeah? Do that one more time from the Allegro. Yeah, very good. Very good. So, I mean, you have the freedom in the second line here, da da dee da 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 dee da da dee da da da, to either start a little bit slower and get faster. So that freedom is of course there, because it's a very very romantic piece, and it's the right time period for that. Yeah, let's go on with the next double stops.
Okay.
Yeah, good. I would, since you have slowed us down in it, yum ba yum ba yum ba yum, bom, ba, da, 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 I would play that with a little more poetry. It's not just another 16th notes run. I meant to comment on the glissando in thirds. Brilliant. Yeah, that's really good, and just the right number of notes, and it's very, very, very good. When you, after these 6 yum bum 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 bum, I would sit on that a little bit. So take your time there.
Okay.
Then there was one place. Hold on. Oh yeah, that only goes back to the very first beginning. With those grace notes. Yeah, I would give them, in this really romantic music, I give them all the same treatment of extra bow speed. Yeah,
Okay.
possibly even lifting it up, but that's minor. Try from the double stops one more time, and at the end of that second bar, yum bum bum.
Okay.
Give that a little more tension. Now stay slow. Good. Yeah. So one way to judge, and it's very difficult when we do something to judge ourselves at the same time. The human brain is not built for that. But what you can do, and nowadays, since we're talking from continent to continent over technology, I'm sure you have some iPhone, a camera, or even a sound recording device. Do you use those when you practice? Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, like for those runs, if you think, okay, not only you played very correctly, it's in tune and all of these things, but to think about how is that for an audience? Does it work for them? Yeah. So the next page. So the form of this movement is a Havanaise. It's in 2/4, and a Havanaise is defined by being in 2/4, having one triplet and one duplet in it. In every bar, yeah. The famous one is. Yeah, by Saint-Saëns. And I always have fun asking people, Havanaise, or the Spanish version, habanera, where does that come from, that music?
I would say Spain. Where does it come from?
That sounds like it, but it's not. The Havanaise comes from Havana, as in Cuba.
Okay.
It's a Latin dance, and it's a slow Latin dance. Yeah. So in the Saint-Saëns case, and the eighth notes are always slightly shortened. Ya-da-da-dum, bum, bum. Yeah, and it's the same here. Yeah, the triplet is very broad. Ya-da-dum, and a triplet, you know, there's a triplet always has to be very even. Otherwise, it very soon sounds like an eighth note and 2/16, or the other way around.
Okay.
So let's try that. Another question: do you make metronome numbers for your pieces?
I practice a lot with the metronome, but I don't write down my metronome marks.
Do that. Actually, one thing I ask my students to do more so with concertos, and this is a piece that has a lot of tempo changes in it. But take a blank piece of paper, make 3 columns, or 4 better. You make 4 columns on a piece of paper, and you listen to your favorite violinists. Yeah, and for the first one, every time you have a tempo change, you write down the bar number and the metronome number, and then you listen to number 2, and you do the same thing, and you'll find, in some cases they're very close, in other cases far apart. And then in the last column, you write Flora over it. Yeah? Okay. You'll be in good company here, and then you determine what tempos you would like. So it's not about imitating any one person. That doesn't work anyway. But to have a concept of how fast should this piece go. So for example, this one, this is very arbitrary, of course, and that would be 66, and that'll feel very slow to you right now. So play it once, make sure the triplet is even, and stretch it into the available time. Yeah.
Okay.
And the eighth notes are a little bit shortened, but don't speed it up. Let's try.
Okay.
Do me a favor once and do it even slower. Do you have a metronome nearby?
Yes, I do. What would you like?
Like 66. If that's too slow, put it on 70, 72, whatever. It's fine.
Okay. I'll start 66.
Good, yeah. So hold on. The eighth notes are almost too short. So every one of these gets a fast bow speed in the beginning and slows down.
Okay.
It doesn't quite stop in the end. Yeah, but not. Yeah, I would keep it more or less in the upper half. That's easier to do.
All right.
Yeah, try it.
Metronome?
Yes, please. that changes the character of it. Yeah, it becomes a lament, which is what it is. Yeah. Then, of course, poco più mosso, but poco. Only a little bit.
Okay.
Only a little bit faster. Yeah. Harmonics are great. I'm looking at the clock here. We're going to run out of time. Otherwise, then after the, if you have the same layout, my edition doesn't have bar numbers. In the middle of that, then you have a fermata on an F sharp.
Yes, I see.
And then da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Yeah, can you go from there, please, with the harmonics? So here we are at a point where I can't hear every note.
Okay.
I would still believe that you're playing them all, but it's too fast.
I don't think so. Okay.
Well, so you're still in the same mode essentially. Yum bum ba da da dum bum bum. So you have to fit 6 couplets into that, which is already fast enough.
Okay.
Yeah, the audience will always think when they hear all the notes that seems more brilliant in a hall than you trying to play as fast as you can, which is considerable. But it's not going to arrive. Yeah, try it one more time and just hold it back. It's good. Your pianist will be so grateful because they can tell. They know exactly where their beats have to fall.
Okay.
Let's go on to the next page, the Allegro Moderato.
All right.
So it's Moderato, the tune. Yum, bum, bum, da, dee, da, yum, bum, bum. Yum, bum, bum. It's in a way almost a very proud march. Yeah, and when people march to a tune, then playing too fast is going to make them jog. So I would keep that, and I would keep it very steady. That's the nature of such a march. Yeah. Can you start the beginning of that? Very good. Very good, yeah. And this way we can hear all of the triplets and so on. Then we run into the same thing on the bottom of the page where you have 16th notes. Yeah, that gets really, really fast.
Yeah.
Let's go on one more page. After all these arpeggios, which are very nice, there's an a tempo.
Yes.
And that's based on dum bum ba-dum bum da-dum da-dum di-dum, yeah. Dim bum. Yeah, and keep that tempo steady. Yeah,
Okay.
go from the 6 couplets, please. So if you want the sound to be more energetic, you can do the spiccato higher in the bow.
Okay.
If you play with full hair, so instead of you can, and you play with full hair and you go slightly above the middle of the bow. It depends a little bit on the bow, but you get a much drier sound.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to try that? But don't speed it up.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So very good. Good. Yeah. So you can adjust the kind of stroke to the piece. I mean, that's a stroke that you would never use in a Mozart concerto. It just doesn't fit, and it would be too harsh. Yeah. But here it actually really fits. Then on the next page, you're still in the same mode. Dum bum ba-dum bum dam dam dam. And the next triplets with the double stops, yup, beep bop beep bop 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 bum, still have the same tempo. Then in the Allegro con brio, yeah, those are all very proud songs. Dum bum bum dum dum bum bum dum. Yeah. So I would keep that. So there's two things. One of them is tempo. The other one is the rhythm within the tempo. But I would, of course, in the end, I don't want you to play metronomical. That would be deadly for a piece like this. But you need to know your major themes. And I know tempo is not character, but it helps so much to have them in a tempo that makes explaining the mood of the piece to the audience so much easier. Yeah.
Okay.
So we haven't talked much about how to play the violin, because you don't have to. Yeah, you play fabulously well, and I sure hope to hear you soon again.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good. Our next person there is our next.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? You pronounce your name.
Hello,
Yagmur?
I'm fine.
Yeah, great.
I'm Yagmur.
Pronounce you Yamush. Great.
Yes.
And you will play Moses Fantasy, Moses Variation by Paganini, right?
Yes.
Yes. So let's listen to Yamush with the Moses Variation. Good, bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo, that's lovely. That's great. So let me, actually, if I may, let's start with a little bit of violin technique on harmonics. By the way, I wanted to ask you, you're from Turkey, is that correct?
Yes, I am from Turkey.
And where are you right now?
Right now I'm in Moscow.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that where you study?
Actually, in the pandemic, I got into Central Music School of Moscow. So I'm in Moscow right now, but I'm from Turkey.
Very good. Excellent. Good. I just always find it interesting. With the internet, you just
Yes.
don't know where people are. Very good. So for the harmonics, you know that a harmonic is a subdivision of your string, right? So the first harmonic that we have, you have an open G string, and you can actually see it in the middle of the string gets the most vibration. We call that the belly of the vibration. That's where the vibration is most pronounced, yeah. So on the G string, you can almost touch the D string with the G, yeah. Now, it's important to be close enough to the bridge that you don't disturb this vibration. If I were to try to bow right here, it would kill the vibration because the string won't react to the bow in that way, you know. So when I have a harmonic, the first one, my vibration is cut in half, the size of the vibration. So the belly of my vibration is here. And subsequently, I have to get closer to the bridge. If I cut it by 50%, then I need to cut the difference in the sounding point or point of contact by 50% also. Otherwise, I'm too close to the middle of the vibration. You do it again, and that's the harmonic we usually use, same as this. But my vibration is only this big. And if I bow in the middle between fingerboard and bridge, I'm basically bowing on the belly of the vibration, and therefore it becomes unreliable. So the closer you are to the bridge, the more reliable it is, and that goes for all harmonics. Yeah. So I would say you have to be close to a note of the vibration where the string doesn't vibrate, and if that's true, it should work here, right? It does. Now, once you have this, then you can use a lot of bow. You can use a very high bow speed with the bow a little bit tilted. And if you have a high bow speed, you're close to the bridge with a tilted bow, then you can actually use quite a bit of pressure to make it loud. Yeah, that sounds loud. And harmonics in a hall, violin harmonics anyway, they always will sound too soft.
Yes.
Try that out just on any harmonic. This is fine. Just take a C, which is 2 octaves above G, yeah? And go close to the bridge and pull the bow really fast. Good. There's one more thing about harmonics. Harmonics don't react well to bow changes that are on the string, or much less martelé notes. So you always want to do it as a brush stroke. Always come from the air with considerable speed already in the air before you touch. And then they always speak. Yeah?
Yeah.
Try that one more time. Stay in the lower half. Right. So here you can use whole bows, and you can get quite a bit of sound if you pull the bow faster, as long as you stay that close to the bridge. Try that tune one time.
From this part, like the flageolet part.
That's great.
Okay.
That's fine. That's good.
By the way, in my violin, there's a problem in C.
There's a wolf.
Like, I mean, not. Yes, it's a little
I
bit
heard
hard
it.
for me to play this piece. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a question. So the wolf is on the C. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens if you play the C already as a harmonic? Does the wolf still give you trouble? So play the harmonic
Like
one note
this.
earlier. Yeah, you don't really have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a viola. No, just kidding. Um, so you have something that's below the G string. But
Yeah.
so no, the only thing you can do about a wolf, besides experimenting with a violin maker and a sound post, is
Yeah.
get away from the bridge, pull your bow really fast and light, and
Okay.
you lose sound in the process. Yeah, but nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that's
Thank
more
you.
sound, and it rings,
Yeah.
and with a little bit vibrato, it won't abandon you. It
Yeah.
always that always works, and it's true for all harmonics every time. Yeah. Another thing for the glissando, you have one high glissando where you go. Yeah. Usually we do this by putting a little bit more pressure on the finger so that you actually hear the glissando
Yeah, okay.
rather than the seagulls.
Okay.
Yeah, put
Like this?
even more pressure on the third finger. So right away, a little bit more pressure, not all the way to the fingerboard, of course, but a little more pressure so that you get the pitches for the glissando rather than harmonics. Yeah, so that's something you can play with, but the if you like all the harmonics in between, I guess that's fine
Okay.
too. I liked the little cadenza you had in the second part of variation number 1. That's very nice. You have
Thank
you
you.
put in a glissando and so on. So let's go to the beginning of the piece. Paganini calls it a variazione di bravura. So bravura has to do with showing off. So
Yeah.
and Paganini himself, he was a showman. He certainly played the violin incredibly well, did some things that were unprecedented during his time. But I saw a program, and I always had a dream of, at some point, organizing a concert that is a replica of a Paganini concert. And that would start, according to the program that I read, it would not start with Paganini. It would start with the singer singing an aria. The second
yeah.
thing that would happen is, a juggler comes out and juggles balls in the air and all kinds of things in the air, just to entertain the crowd and get them ready. Then Paganini would come and play the first movement of his concerto, and then the singer would come back, and the juggler, and the second movement of the concerto, intermission, the singer, the juggler, and the last movement of the concerto. So this was a variety show. Yeah, this was entertainment. Also, and it was very common at the time, the most popular music were the operas at that time. You're talking early 19th century. That's what Broadway musicals are nowadays. And they adopted, many violinists and many pianists, instrumentalists, they adopted opera arias because the audience knew them. It was familiar to them. So I would start out with a much more singing sound, rather than the sound. The sound you use is beautiful, but it's too intimate. It would fit into many other aspects of classical music, but it's not a bravura piece. Yeah, and usually we don't play these things in very, very large halls, but I always think of a singer singing piano. They still use the entire focus of their voice, and I would use that in the piano even here. Yeah. So can you play the opening one time, and just make sure that the sound is has enough substance to it. Yeah, try.
Okay.
Very nice. And then, opposed to that, the next phrase is forte. Can you play that with an even louder sound?
Sure.
Right. Yeah. So from a technical point of view, it's a difference in the sounding points or point of contacts. Yeah. So for the piano, you're more. I have to take one earphone off so I can hear my own violin. And the forte is then. Yeah. The other thing you can add in the forte is some articulation in the bow. So instead of sneaking into the sound like you would do it in the piano, you put the bow on the string. It's not quite a martelé, but to have a strong beginning of the note changes the character of the phrase. Yeah, the character of a note is usually determined in the beginning of the note. Yeah. Let's see. If you don't mind, play the opening again, and let's do it without the repeat.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah. Then you have a
Thank
big
you.
contrast between the piano and the forte. Let's go to the theme, the tempo alla marcia. Da-dum, 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 bum, ba-dum. Yeah. Can you play that one more time? Just until the double bar. Very nice.
Should I continue?
So that's, go ahead.
Thank you.
No, you sounded like you were going to ask a question.
No, I wasn't.
No? Okay, good. And it's a little difficult with the delay that you have.
Yeah.
We can use a little bit more articulation. Yeah. You know, of course, what martelé strokes are. Yeah. And
Yeah.
martelé strokes can be of different, or the martelé attack can have different strengths. What we like to do sometimes is you push the string all the way down so that the bow stick is on the bow hair. And we call that pressure number 5. That's as much as you can give. And then you release that gradually from 5 to 4 to 3 to 1 to 0. Yeah? And then you can decide how much articulation do I want. I can use just half, 0.5, or 1, or 2, or 3, and it gets more and more strong. Yeah, you don't need it very strong here, so whatever number you want to attach to it. And then second one also. Yeah. So always with the bow on the string. Actually, my friends who studied with Mr. Galamian, and I should add, Mr. Galamian learned how to play the violin in Moscow. He studied in Moscow before he went to Paris. And my friends tell me he always told them that you cannot control the sound unless your bow is on the string. That sounds so simplistic, right? And
Yeah.
we violate it all the time. So bow on the string and a tiny attack on the string. Yeah, try that. Yeah, so especially for the 16s, bum, dum, beep, bum, ba bum, ba bum. So all of the 16s, they needed more than any other note. Yeah. Now, can you try it in tempo? Ba-dum, da-da. Try it in the tempo that you want to play it. Yeah, good. Go on. Da-dum, ba-dum.
My earphone is falling right now.
Oops,
It fell off, yeah.
it fell. Can you hear me again?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Good. So when you have all these down bows, practice them to put the bow on the string before you start. And this way you can control the amount of attack, and you don't need very much. Bum, 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 bum,
Okay.
bum. But each one of them gets the same treatment. Try it.
Yeah, okay.
Very good. A little bit faster. Bum, 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 bum. Very good. So the same stroke would be true in variation number 2. Da-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. Yeah. So you want to practice
Yeah.
very fast retakes with putting the bow back on the string before you play.
Okay.
I often have people practice that in 16s. And. So that they get used to the fast retake. Yeah, try that
Yeah,
once.
okay.
At a slow tempo. Good.
Yeah, I understood.
Now, when you do it in tempo, you do the same thing, except you use a little bit faster bow speed. Da-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. But you also retake really faster so that every note can start on the string with a measured attack.
Okay.
Try that. Good. Hold your violin up. So it's more for a bravura piece
Yeah.
to hold the violin up. Yeah. Can you play the beginning of variation 3? Da 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 da.
Sure.
Very good, very good. You control the tempo very well. This variation and possibly the very end could go a little bit faster. Yeah, good. There's one more thing I wanted to mention to you. You play the violin well. You're not going to have any difficulties. I mean, a teacher could throw any piece at you. That they could find, and you would be able to practice it and play it well. And I said it in the previous segment, the rhythm is usually our most powerful tool.
Yeah.
The next most powerful tool in my mind is intonation, especially for something that is as chromatic as this beginning. Sorry, I have to get this one earphone off. Now the next F sharp. The F sharp has to be quite narrow
Yeah. Okay.
to the G. Yeah, the F can be low and the F sharp can be high. This is all still, I mean, we don't have time to get into it right now, but when we play melodies and scales, we use basically Pythagorean intonation with large whole steps and narrow half steps, as opposed to just intonation that fits the double stops better, you know this. But in this case, you can take the license to exaggerate the Pythagorean intonation a bit, and it makes a difference to the audience. And then low again. Yeah, if you keep leading tones really high, play it once really slowly, and try to play very narrow half steps between those notes.
Okay.
Yes, very good. Good ear. Yeah, very good. That makes emotionally a huge difference to the audience. You know, I'll show you my favorite example for the musical effect of that. In the Carmen Fantasy by Sarasate. I can put the B flat here. Yeah, and people will say that's good enough. But if I put it a tiny bit lower, then I would say it goes into the stomach of the audience much more deeply, and it has a direct emotional result. And that's why intonation is so powerful. Yeah, and it's one of the strengths of or the blessings of our instrument, as much as it is sometimes a curse because we have to practice slowly so much in order to get it in tune. But it also means that not every half step is equal. Yeah. So if you have a low F and a high F sharp, then the half step between the F and the F sharp is huge.
Yeah.
And that means that even in a chromatic scale, not every half step is the same. And if you do that, the chromatic scale will stay in the key where you are. And it'll sound much more brilliant. It really has a tremendous effect on the articulation and on the way that the audience emotionally perceives the piece. Yeah, when you go on. And low A flat. So you always have very wide whole steps, and you make the half steps really narrow. Play the beginning of the piece one more time, a little bit under tempo, and really make those half steps that resemble leading tones really narrow.
Okay.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah. It takes a tremendous amount of time to practice very, very slowly. We usually put the metronome at 40 and one note at a time, or sometimes you know this, right? And we spend hours on it, but it cleans up every piece. Yeah, and especially for this type of really romantic music, it makes, to the audience, it often makes all the difference. I often say this to my students. Sometimes you walk out of a performance, you heard somebody play, and you come out and say, yeah, it was okay, it was fine, but it didn't grab you. And I bet you 95% of the time, it is because the intonation wasn't tailored to the key. It would have made a much better emotional impact on the audience if it were. Yeah. Yes. So look, you are a wonderful violinist at a young age. Thank you. Keep going, and I hope to hear you again sometime.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So, thank you so much, Professor Sassmannshaus, for your but in-depth look at how the acoustic law influence our attitude to larger spaces performance, and introduction to non-temperate intonation. I'm looking forward to your next masterclass, in which you will possibly enlighten us about vertical and non-temperate intonation working together in Bach.
Sure, happy to do it. Yeah.
And really many thanks for making time. I know how busy you are, making time to visit us and to give our students your time. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and congratulations to pulling off a very complex program with so many interesting students and so many interesting teachers, and thanks for including me in it. And I look forward to seeing you this summer.
I'm looking forward to that.
See you in Boden, yeah? Very good.
Thank you very much. All the best, and see you very, very soon again. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So this was our masterclass with Kurt Sassmannshaus, and tomorrow we have concert, and the day after tomorrow we have masterclass with Zor Jarova from Tchaikovsky Conservatoire and the music school attached to the conservatoire. So I'm looking forward to all new experiences and opinions about music and violin playing, and I hope you'll enjoy too, and you'll join me and join us, the whole new Virtuosi family, to enjoy this. Good night or good morning.